Some of y'all who've been watching this channel, especially if you've been watching for a very long time, might be asking me, Andrew, why is it that you don't talk about Miaphysitism anymore? And the truth is, the very first video that I ever did on this channel was the only video that I ever really had to do about Miaphysitism. Every other video that I did on Miaphysitism after that was really an extension. It was a bonus. It was an add-on. It was a victory lap. Because the very first video that I ever did on this channel about Miaphysitism puts to bed the topic of Miaphysitism and Theophysitism. No, there's no more to be said after that. If you go back and you look at that video, what you find is I say at the Council of Ephesus, the Council of Ephesus affirmed Cyril's 12 anathemas. And in those 12 anathemas, especially the fourth anathema to Nestorius from Cyril, Cyril makes it very clear that we cannot make distinctions between what is done by the human nature and what is done by the divine nature in God, as if these were two separate natures. Cyril makes this very evident in the 12 anathemas. And Cyril's famous phrase, I'm going to butcher this Greek here. He says, Miaphysitism Theou Logou sesarkomene, to mean one nature of God, the word made flesh. And, you know, sometimes some Miaphysites might say, oh, you guys worship Cyril. No, we don't worship Cyril, because while any church father, any one church father is fallible within the Oriental Orthodox tradition, within the Eastern Orthodox tradition, and within Roman Catholicism, every single one of these traditions holds canonical, non-negotiable, the first three councils, those of Nicaea, Ephesus, and Constantinople. And so if anything comes after Ephesus that contradicts Ephesus, it must be rejected. This is why we as Christians reject Muhammad and Islam. They come along and they say, we are an extension. We are the expansion pack, the 2.0 of Christianity. But the problem is, Islam obviously contradicts Christianity, so it must be rejected, because every future revelation, every concurrent revelation must be congruent with and not contradict the previous revelation before it. And so if Chalcedon contradicts Ephesus, we must reject Chalcedon. It's not complicated. Now, I can sit here and say the same thing over and over in different ways, but it's already been put to bed. And so that leads into an interesting discussion, a discussion about theological gymnastics. People love doing theological gymnastics, where they will take something very simple, like the rejection of Miaphysitism at Ephesus, which you can go look it up. Go look up the 12 anathemas of San Cyril to Nestorius and go look up whether or not those were affirmed at Ephesus or not. They were. So Chalcedon obviously rejects Miaphysitism. Miaphysitism is so obvious. It's so obvious, especially if you're Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox, because you hold reverence to and canonical the first three councils of the early church. But what happens is people, it's inconvenient to convert. You've been raised Roman Catholic your whole life. Maybe your family members are Roman Catholic. Your ancestors maybe are Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox. You have a allegiance to your country, which might be an Eastern Orthodox country, and so on and so on and so on. And so what does the brain do to try to ease its cognitive dissonance? Is it starts to play theological gymnastics. Well, no, actually what we're going to do is we're going to make a 12-hour series by David Erhan or by Kai from Orthodox Shahada so we can debunk Miaphysitism, and we're going to bring up literally anything but Miaphysitism. We're going to talk about Muslims. We're going to use a lot of big words, and so that our viewers who want to affirm Eastern Orthodoxy or any other form of Miaphysitism might feel like, oh, okay, well, I don't understand exactly what David Erhan is saying. I might not exactly understand the babbling that Kai is saying from Orthodox Shahada, but I don't need to understand it because those guys are smart and they're affirming what I want to believe anyway. And so, you know, they're right. Of course they're right. That guy won. That's why you'll see in a lot of these debates, if you see a debate, for example, between a Muslim and a Christian, and you ask the Christian audience who won, they'll say the Christian apologetic. And if you ask the Muslim side who won, they'll say the Muslim apologetic, because people are looking to affirm what they already believe because it's convenient, because the reality of the situation is most people do not seek truth. That's the reality. The truth can be extremely inconvenient at times. You know what Christ says in the Bible? He says, if you're not willing to forego father and mother and brother and forego all those to follow me, then you are not worthy of me. And to be fair, it's not an easy ask to forego all of this, but it happens. Every once in a while, a Muslim will leave Islam. It's inconvenient. It might isolate them from their families. It might isolate them from their culture. They might have to flee the country. But it happens. But it's very hard. It's rare. This rarely happens. And so the way that I know, by the way, the way that I know that most of the people who watch these series debunking Miaphysitism by David Orhan, or the series debunking Miaphysitism by Kai and Jay Dyer, Kai from Orthodox Shahada, is because if you go look at the chats, you go look at the live chats of these discussions, almost nobody is on topic. Almost nobody is actually engaging with the fallacious arguments that are being made. Everyone's like, oh, owned. Oh, you got them. Oh, look, we got them. Got them. But no one's actually engaging with the arguments because no one even cares to understand the arguments if they are intelligible to begin with. Because all that matters is that my guy is winning and your guy is losing. Because if you can help me affirm what I want to believe, then you've done your job as the apologist. And that's the reality of the situation. And that's the reason why I'm not constantly making videos about Miaphysitism.